Welcome to Albinism Talk with Marvelyn, with your host, Marvelyn Green. Before I introduce you to our guests, please remember to follow Yell for Change on all social media platforms. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, if you would like to take part in the Yell and Yellow campaign, please send your yellow pics to Y4C or Yell for Change's Instagram page. Without further ado, we have a guest in the room tonight. She's all the way from South Africa. She is an activist for albinism, and she's also a contestant for Mr. and Miss Albinism South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mandisa. Welcome, sis. Good night from the UK. Welcome to Albinism Talk with Marvelyn, sis.
Hi. Hello, ma'am. And in our culture, we say mulweni. So, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, ma'am.
You are most welcome. So, Mandisa, please introduce yourself to the world so that they can know who you are.
My name is Mandisa Makunga, and I'm from South Africa. I'm from the Eastern Cape. I grew up in the villages, but now I'm mostly living in the city. I'm living in Port Elizabeth, and I am 34 years old. And I am a giver. I am a lover. I love meeting new people. I love coffee. I love food. And most importantly, I am an activist for albinism. I believe that I am the change that I'd like to see for albinism. And I'm also the finalist for the first ever Miss and Mr. Albinism South Africa 2021. So in a nutshell, that's me.
Wow, you sound so enthusiastic about that. Oh my God, it's amazing to meet somebody like you, and thank you for that, for sharing that with me and the world. So Mandisa, the question I'm going to ask you is, I know you have albinism, but I want to hear from your side of things. What age did you notice you were different from your family members?
What age? Okay. From my family, we were always treated the same. So from my family side of view, I never actually felt different because I was treated as the other children. But then now when you go to the community and you go play, and then you get to hear children calling you other names, and then you get them actually specifying that your sister, you look different. And in our country, I am an African. So the minute I have a lighter skin color, then they specified that. And then when I got home and I asked my grandmother, why do I look different? And then my grandmother told me that each and everybody is born special. I think I was 6. So we are not meant to look the same. We are not the same. We're all different. And at my house, we have different skin colors. So she was like, look at us. All of us here at home have different skin colors. Just because yours is lighter, it means absolutely nothing to you. It just means that you were born with a lighter skin than the other children. So for me, I grew up believing that we're all different. We cannot look the same. So that's how I took it. I took it as everybody's born different. We don't look the same. And it's just skin color. I did not know it was like albinism, for example. I was not taught about albinism at home. Because at home they were like, no, we have different skin colors. We're not supposed to look the same. That's how God created us, to be different. So for me, that's how I got to understand. Growing up, I got to understand that we are born to look different. We're not meant to look the same. So it was basically that for me up until I had to study about albinism. In a very I think I was like over 20 when I actually had to study about albinism as a condition. You see, because I didn't always know that it's albinism. It's a genetic thing, and because of this, we lack melanin, and because of this, we have a visual impairment. I did not know it growing up. It is just that when my Smolanyana cousins kept on asking, why do you look different? Why do you look different? And then I was like, no, they need a proper answer besides me being special, but then they need to understand that this has got something to do with the genes. You see, so then that's when I started to learn about albinism as a condition and teaching about it. And then I understood from then that no, we are not aware of albinism as a genetic condition. You know, we don't understand that. So that's where my advocacy started, is understanding that people don't necessarily understand what albinism is. Besides the myths that are set around it, but people do not really understand the melanin and everything else.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because albinism, as I do these talks and I'm learning more and more about albinism, and for me, I for welcome Luca, he's joining in, the founder of People Living with Albinism, is here with us, he's joining in. So when it comes to albinism, you know, most people have their own agenda, their own perception about it. And to know that with me, very similar to me, I'm from the Caribbean. So I didn't know about albinism until I came to the UK. But growing up was my family, they were like, nothing wrong with me. You know, they'll be like, oh, your skin, God made you different. So I know, like my parents will be like, yeah, you're normal, don't worry about it. You know, God make you different and so forth. And I knew for me, I knew that my eyesight I had low vision very young, and my eyes were sensitive. Every light I go into, especially the sun, my eyes will be like my eyes will hurt me a lot. And I noticed that there was something that I couldn't really understand why. And then with, you know, growing up, and then obviously, you know, wearing glasses and everything. Like my grandma used to take me opticians when I was 6 and so forth, when I was in the UK. So I knew something about me was different, but I just couldn't really put my hand on it. So let me ask you this. So educational side of things, I would like to ask you is, did you receive any accommodations for your learning? For example, did you have to sit at the front of the class for one? And did you have enlarged prints? Did you have any special assistants in your school? And did you have extra time in your exams?
I did sit at the front at school always. I think from a younger age, I sit in front because then I could not really understand what's going on. But each and every school I went to, they were very accommodative. So I sat in front, and when they had to write something on the board, I would write it so that I get the book to write on my own notes. Because I'm short-sighted, so I see everything here. So throughout the years, I was sitting in front. Like, for example, I remember in grade 10, 11, 12, I was sitting in front of the class. Like, the teachers had to stand, like my desk was just in front of the board. But then my friend's desk were also there with mine. So the teacher was standing right behind us at school. So my schools were very accommodative. I really didn't have an issue with paper that is in front of me. But then what my high school did is that they requested for grade 12, they requested a larger print for me. They didn't ask me. They didn't. I just like, they just had a larger print for me to accommodate me. And then at tertiary, because most of my school years, because I understand my vision, so I made a way where it could work for me. So even in tertiary, I didn't have like large pins. I don't like large pins now because they take up all the space. So usually what I really don't like. So I prefer the normal print. So I can, it's fine if I do that, but I prefer the normal print. It makes my life a bit easier. So
like
at tertiary,
so not to cut you, sis, the normal print size, what do you mean? Like, because for me, I use like size 14. So the front 14 for me is good for me. But the small, no smaller than that. So I know, let me explain to people who are listening when you're talking about big papers, because I had accommodations as well in school. In my secondary school, they made preparations for me as well. So everything was enlarged. I had, if you put two, I don't know if you see a big A3 paper. Yeah. A3 paper where you have to fold it like 2 times more. I hated that because that was taking
yes. And it takes space and it takes time.
Yes.
But yeah, they were doing the right thing.
I know what you're saying, but what I honestly, I just said, you know what, just A4 print, just normal A4 print, but just make the front
doing the right thing. Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that. So, so carry on what you were saying. So they made accommodations for you. You didn't request that. Internet signal, guys. Apologize for the signal failure in here.
I think in high school they decided for me, and then I was like, no, it's okay. And I wrote my high school, and we were good. And then in tertiary, because now I understood my eyes better, I made ways where I was okay with teaching myself stuff, and understanding what I need to do in order for me to get on with the program, because I literally like the other problem I have. I really like independence. So I like to get my way around things. So yeah, but they were very accommodative at because we were told in tertiary, you must go if you need any extra assistance. And then I was like, no, I've got this.
Yeah, I know them ones, man. I know, because it's like you don't want to be dependent on people. And that's something, yeah, you want to be independent. So I definitely get that as well. Sometimes I have to tell the teacher, I'm not handicapped. It's just that, okay, all right, you can make the front big, but it's taking up too much space in my bag. And it's making my bag heavy, all these big, large papers. So I don't mind you doing it in large prints, but just make the front big, but make it be on maybe more than one page. That's fine. I just don't want it to be that big A3 paper, So academically, you have the support. So in school as well, did you also make friends? So socially in school, did you make friends in school?
Yes, I think for me, what has helped me is that I moved a bit, so I was always the new child at school. So my personality is a bit out there, and I really enjoy meeting new people. So I always had friends at school, because I started like higher secondary in a different town, high school, higher in a different town. So for me, that has helped me a lot, even with my confidence and understanding people, the moving around, because I was not always in one town. I did pre-primary in one town, primary in one town, secondary in one town, high school in one time. So I was always the new school the new kid at school. I was always the new kid at school. So I think for me, like when I look back into my life now and understanding more, I was like, that for me helped a lot, because then I kind of like needed to introduce myself and be comfortable enough to be myself. And well, I talk a lot, so it's not very difficult for me to have new friends. And yeah, so I did have friends in high school and tertiary and so forth.
Because a lot of people become so immune, they come adjusted to your condition. So you really didn't really have that problem socially then.
Yes, because I literally was like, sometimes it feels like I even like forget that I have albinism, because to me we are all different. Sometimes it gets overwhelming when people like stand there and you're like, Kanina, why are you guys staring? What's so but then it you get to understand that, especially if you go like to a mainstream school where there was not a child with albinism before. And so, yeah, but then for me, I think the foundation that I got from home made it easier for me to be able to maneuver in the world, like from like in an early age. Because at home, it was always a place where I came back and I was like, yo, today this is what happened. And then I would be listened to, and then I'll be advised, or they will affirm who I am, or SPC. So those things, my family actually helped me in my journey wherever I went. So I think, a foundation, like a family foundation, where you are told that you are enough, you are beautiful, you don't have to worry. It's just lack of melanin. Um, then you will be able to actually, socially be able to understand that, people are really just people. And I've also learned that sometimes people treat you the way you treat yourself. So if I come as this bubbly person, and then that's how they accept me, and that's how sometimes they also forget about Mandisa with albinism. So yeah.
I love the fact that you said that because you mentioned the internal support, and obviously it's good that you've received the internal support from your family. And that's when obviously how you are treated in the home does indicate of how you're treated social and external, because there's some people with albinism, they may not have that privilege because some family members do mistreat them in a very
Yes.
way and so
Yes.
forth. So some people, like for me, I've had the both advantage and the disadvantage, because
Advantage.
so I had the Jamaica. Obviously I'm from Jamaica, so as I said before, I had the Jamaican side. They were very, very good. I had the love and support. I had my godmother reminded me the other day on WhatsApp. She said to me, I remember, Evelyn, I used to look after your skin, take care of your skin. They made sure that my skin was like taken care of. They put the right stuff to keep my skin hydrated. My mom did the same thing. Academically, I went to school as well. My mom used to work in the kindergarten section. So my mom taught me how to read and write, spell my name, everything. And I also made friends as well. But when I came to the UK, it was different because obviously you come into another country and you're trying to adjust and then start a new school.
Yes.
I had some family members, they weren't as nice to me, you know.
Yeah.
But and
Mm.
I had the good ones that really support me. Even when I started my cause last year, they supported my cause, and I want to thank God for those people who stood by me with the Yellow Yellow campaign. So it's good that you have support from the internal, and that's important because it's already hard born with albinism,
Yes.
visual impairment. Why make somebody's life harder? So it's good that you've got the love and the support, and then obviously you have maybe you have communities and family members that would educate people who do not know about your condition or my condition per se, to educate and say, look, there's nothing wrong with Mandisa. It's lack of melanin. That's what it is. It's nothing. It's not a disease, and it's not a curse.
Mm.
So let's move on to the next question. Now I'm going to talk about Mr. and Miss Albinism. Yes, it's time to bring this up. It's time to bring this topic up. Yes. Why Mr.
Yeah.
and Miss Albinism? What led you to this competition? Explain to the audience why Mr. and Miss Albinism.
Mostly for me, it's about impacting the next generation of people with albinism. But most importantly, it's about awareness, to draw awareness into albinism and into us teaching the communities that albinism is just lack of melanin. Um, and we want to for the next child with albinism, to understand that the sky is not even the limit. You can do whatever it is that you put your mind into, and to have an impact, so that the next generation of people with albinism, they do not have to grow up around the myths on albinism. So it's a platform where we get to say, this is who we are, this is what we're about, and we just dismantle all the myths around albinism. So most importantly, that is what it is about, and we want to show the beauty. And we want to also show that, we want people to understand that albinism is just lack of melanin, and we want the communities to really be able to also explain by themselves by now what albinism is. Because now the thing is that with albinism, people know the myths mostly. You understand? I think what has been out there is the myths. So now we are here to delete the myths, so that when I have a child with albinism, they do not grow up in a society that knows albinism with the myths. They grow up in a society where adversity and diversity is accepted. So that is why that is why I'm a finalist. And when I saw the competition, because it's the first of its kind here in South Africa, I was like, no, this is an opportunity to make an impact in South Africa as a whole, but not just in Eastern Cape, because I live in my province. So this is South Africa. So now I get to represent myself in South Africa. I get to educate in South Africa. So that's why I entered, and so far, so good. A bit nervous, a whole lot of excited. So yeah, that is why I am the finalist for the competition.
Amazing, because Mr. and Miss Albinism, it's do you know what, this is something, this is like a world changer for many PWAs out there. So is it for all ages?
Yes, it's for all ages. I think it was between 18 and 35, I think initially. Yeah, I think the age, it's between 18 and 35.
Okay. That's good, because I just think that because a person with albinism, they and confident issues, and I'm glad that this competition brings a light to albinism, and also exposing that there are people who have albinism, they're just as beautiful as a normal person with melanin. So it's very good that this competition will give PWAs an opportunity to prove themselves, and to really, just to just bring themselves in the forefront as well. Because, so I really am glad that this competition is important. It is in the PWA community. And obviously, family members can also educate themselves, and the community can understand the condition that, hey, albinism is just a genetic condition, and a person with albinism, they do have the right to live a life without being inferior, without feeling rejected, without feeling as if that the world don't love them. So I'm glad, as a part of this advocacy, to meet people with albinism just like me, and to really get to know and to educate myself as well, and also to learn more about other people with albinism.
Yes, because we get to hear other experiences as well.
Yes. And that's what's important, because you can, just because a person's born with albinism, that don't mean that their experience is the same. You can't really put everybody in the same. You can't put everybody in the same category. And that's something I am learning more and more about. So moving on to the next question. We're going to talk about, like your employment wise, do you have a career in something that you do?
Yes, I'm an admin tech now, but I think for me, when I between high school and tertiary, I have a diploma in internal auditing. I want to do accounting. But then when I started working, I enjoyed working with people. So like, let's leave accounting, let's do people. So currently where I'm working at, I deal with people on a daily basis because I kind of feel like that's where I am most comfortably at. So I'm currently working with people because I really do enjoy meeting different people and listening to different stories and all that. I am an admin clerk where I work, but then every day I get to engage with people. So now I am doing a qualification in psychology because then that's where I want to spread my wings at. I was like, no, I loved accounting. And my first job, I was working with accounting, but mostly I want to do people. So that's why I'm where I'm at, because I get to engage with people, I get to meet different people, I get to experience different attitudes, and then so that's where I'm at career-wise.
Awesome. Awesome. The reason why I had to ask this is because of the discrimination that is occurred in Africa towards PWAs, and when it comes to employment and work, I've got to understand that the employment rates in the PWA community is very low. Is very low, and especially I've come to understand that in certain parts of South Africa, the government is not really like helping and assisting as such. So what is your intake on that?
I hear you. I understand where you're coming from, because communicating with people with albinism, I get to understand as well that employment is hard, or most of the things that are offered, like it's internships, but they don't really crack to get into the the industry and actually get to be permanently employed. So I do understand the employment part, and also again we also have an unemployment rate that is sky size due to a lot of reasons. So I would like to urge a person with albinism to keep on knocking on these doors and not to be discouraged. For them to try and do something, anything that you are passionate about, even if, because when I got out of tertiary, I didn't have a job, and then I volunteered for about like 6 months. Then after volunteering, then I got work. So to motivate them, not for them to get discouraged, because not being employed is very discouraging, as well as to knock on the doors where maybe you can volunteer, and then you can also get to experience how the employment, because remember now, employment sectors are different. I remember on my first job, the invoice numbers were very small. I could not see nothing. And remember now, it's my first day, and I was like, I had nerves of my first day, and then the work that I had to do had invoice numbers this small. So when I'm normally nervous, my eyes kind of like go to rest as well, man. So, but then because I had explained, like for example, on the interview that I'm partially sighted, right? So the manager understood, and then we had to. It was a bit hard on the first day now, because part of me learning the job was seeing those small numbers. You know, I remember them coming with magnifiers and lights, and it was a very long first day. Let me say, it was a very long first day. So I had to explain to them that, okay, let's leave the small numbers for today, because I am already nervous on my first day, and my eyes, and I don't work when I'm nervous, right? Like literally, they just do not work. So I had to explain to them that, listen, can we not do the small numbers today? and then tomorrow we'll try. You know, like let's get to do something that I can do, because that is very demotivating when you're on your first day and you're like, but then I can't do even this. Then it was like a week on the job when they give me some understand the invoice numbers and where they come from. And I worked with the invoice numbers 4 years in that company. So I think it's very important for a person with albinism to understand themselves first, so that even when they go for employment, they can be able to say, Bana, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. Also with the computers.
Agree with that. I definitely agree, because in my workplace now, I declared my site, my impairment, and they put me in a department which is suitable for me. So even if the computer screen is small, I can blow it up myself for me to see. So, these are things that, and, like when you even certain times, like I go to work and stuff like that, I had to do things to accommodate myself to help me work and so forth. But the fact is, it's good that you make declarations to your managers, because, they may not understand why you can't do certain things. But it's good that you brought that up in your workplace. And that's something that's encouraging other persons with albinism or people with albinism to, when you're going to go into employment, you make sure you declare your visual impairments, so that the manager will make accommodations for you in the workplace. Otherwise, they're going to treat you like you're a normal person.
Yes. But then I think for me, in order for me to be able to declare my vision, I had to understand albinism. I had to understand myself. I had to understand that my vision is just my vision, and my visual impairment does not define what I bring to the table. No. So that also had to take me to understand myself, to understand what I bring, to understand the fact that I do not see the invoices does not actually mean that I cannot actually do the work. It's just that because they're too small, I had to take a little bit longer than normal. So what is also very important is understanding albinism, understanding yourself, understanding your strengths, and accepting your weaknesses. That's very important.
Yeah, I can hear the internet airways want to give trouble at this moment. I can hear it so bad, but you know what? Whether internet or no signal, this talk is gonna carry on. So, so yeah, do you know what? That's very powerful. You know what you said. Understanding your condition, and I mean, some people are in denial of it. And that's something that we have to come out of that. That's something that is here to stay. There's so many future PWAs coming up now. And we as elders, we've kind of paved the way for them. We know what it is to struggle with the eyesight. We know what it's like. And it's our due diligence to ensure that we spread the message about our condition, so they can understand themselves better too. And the thing, when I love what you said, that you said that knowing your strengths and weaknesses. For me, I see as, okay, I use my weaknesses as strengths. That's what I see as. I mean, I know there's barriers and limitations. Yeah, I know that it's taken me a while to get things done because of my vision and everything. But I use those barriers to improve on myself. I don't say, oh, I have a weak point. I use weakness as something to develop my skills to be productive. I know my strengths. I'm a people's person. I engage well with people, but my weakness is that there's some things I'm not able to do. But just because I can't do them, that don't mean I cannot stop achieving. And obviously, one of the things that I learned about albinism is, okay, yeah, there's limitations, but you don't have to limit yourself just because there is a limitation, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so moving on to the question now, we're going to talk about the myths. Now, what's your intake on the myths now?
You know,
this is a big thing in the albinism community, the myths. This is a big thing. It's a big thing. And as a part of Yell for Change advocacy, is to bring awareness to the barbaric and the disturbing acts, what's going on in Africa. So that's one of the main things to bring awareness to albinism is the dangerous myths and to really shine the light on these unspeakable, disturbing, wicked, and evil acts that's going on in Africa. It disturbs me a lot, sis. It really bothers me to know that people are in fear of their lives because of these rituals and these dangerous beliefs. So, tell me in your own words, what's it like? You know, let me just rephrase that. In your view, what do you think of these myths?
I do not understand them. I honestly do not. I honestly do not know how people come up with these things, because okay, let's take two myths that contradict each other, because there's this one that we're bad luck, right? Because some people are rejected in their families because they bad luck, right? In the same breath, same people also steal us because we bring luck and we are the lucky charms. Same people. Same, like, honestly, like, I really don't understand. We're really not, we're bad luck, and it's a curse. The family is cursed, and then on the same breath, we want her blood. We want her. Sissy, can I have lotto numbers? Sissy, if you greet me today, I'm gonna have a better day. That's what they do to us here in the streets. So I honestly don't understand where the myths are coming from. You see, because and also we disappear apparently. We don't die. Yes, we don't die. We disappear. And you know, I would joke about this. I'm like, yo guys, I wish I had actually the superpowers that you all are talking about. But yeah. But on a serious note, I really do not understand where these things coming from.
Another thing that's come to my mind as well, sis, and honestly, I do not laugh at anyone who's suffering from any sexual transmitted diseases or HIV.
Which whole HIV apparently.
Yes, and I'm not laughing at that because there's people going through that, but I'm laughing at the of it. I heard this is a story of a person with albinism can cure AIDS and HIV. Which I just have to say, wait, what? What do you mean it cures HIV and AIDS? You're giving it. It's not curing it. You're giving it. So that's another myth that they said that a person with albinism can cure HIV, which is not true, and it's something that's really makes me just think, oh my God, what in God's name is going on with people's perception of albinism, that they believe that all these things can really happen. And I also heard that a body part can cost 90,000.
Yeah, because they also believe that our body parts, then they can make whatever, so that people have luck. So I do not know how inhuman can, like, I don't understand how people can be so inhuman, because we're just people that are born, especially like they're like, sometimes we are born right in front of them, like nothing miraculous happened, and yet they believe these things. Yet we live amongst them. So sometimes it's very tiring that you have to teach people that, hi guys, we are also human. You see?
Yeah, it's kind of
So yeah.
you get so fed up of like educating.
To say to people, we're human as well. Hi guys, we're human.
And another, I don't know if you did hear of those two scenarios. What happened in Zambia, like the one with the little girl that had her
Child,
hand,
yes,
yeah,
yes, the
yeah, that
child.
one. And that one, I think, okay, you can do it to an adult is bad enough, but to a 2-year-old infant, innocent baby that's come into this world, and you decided to really make her life
Hmm.
hell now. For the rest of her life, she is scarred with this barbaric act or inhumane act of her losing her arm to these criminals. And I pray to God that they get catch for that. I hope they caught them. And let's see how it feels if they was to lose an arm and so themselves.
Sure.
It's so evil. I mean, I
Hmm.
cried, Mandisa.
Sure.
I cried. When I
Sure.
read the reports from Albinism's Foundation Zambia, when I read that report and I saw that, I literally cried. It was one of them ones where your heart is aching because it feels as if it was
Child.
actually coming to you.
Oh, child.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the emotional things that the parents go through, because emotionally then a parent has to go through all of that, and emotionally then a parent has to raise a child and explain to her and bring back her self-confidence because somebody decided to be inhuman. So
Mm.
we ought to pray for a better world. We really ought to pray for a better world as much as we can stand for advocacy and tell people what albinism is and what it is not. We really ought to pray for like a better world because
Yeah.
children can't keep on suffering like this because now it's children.
Oh. I mean, I'm not exposed to that sort of thing. I'm not exposed to that. But I cannot really I can't comprehend this inhumane
It's
thing,
not.
but I put myself
Mm,
in the shoes of the parents, or put
mm,
myself in the shoes of a PWA that's actually was affected or become a victim of that. Because it feels as if even though I have the condition, what makes it even connects us is the fact that it feels like you're cutting my arm off, or you're chopping my
yes.
leg off, or you want to kill me then.
Mm,
So even though it's not happening to me
yes.
physically, but I'm putting myself in that scenario, in that shoes, to empathize with my brothers and sisters. And and it really, really it does really disturb you when you think about things like this, because parents or maybe are in fear of bringing their kids in the community because of these dangerous myths. And I feel like this needs to call to an end. It needs to stop. Too long this going on now. It needs to stop. I never believed it at first, but when I see the
Actually
reports,
saw
the
it.
videos, it does really disturb me. And especially, I feel it for my prayer goes out to the mother of that baby. And also, recently, another one happened again in September with that young 12-year-old boy. His arm was chopped off, but luckily the father caught the attacker. But one of them is in custody right
Yes,
now as
yes.
we speak. But obviously, he had to go to the hospital. They had to chop the arm off because they couldn't save the arm.
It
And
was
these are
too bad
then these are things that are still going on, and
happening.
so in South Africa, does these type of things happen?
Not so much.
Okay.
They don't happen so much, but then we still do have stereotyped people that actually do believe in these things. There was also a child in KZN where they had to. Okay, the child got like it does not happen often, but then it these things kind of do happen because then remember now, even if we pass away and then we are buried, they also want to go and dig the grave. There was a case where they believed that the body still can perform magic, and then they had to dig somebody's grave, and also a child that also disappeared, I think in KZN, and when it was found out that there was a sangoma that was paid because they believed that the child could bring luck. But it does not happen as often, but it's still something that people believe. So it's still something that we need to educate on.
Wait, so I actually heard about the grave thing, and to me, I think that's so not even in death a person albinism can't rest because of these rituals.
You
Can't have
see,
a burial, you can't have a proper. So wait a minute. So what do they do? Do they have like private funerals at the night time with just friends and family?
no, they had like a normal funeral.
Mhm.
But then it was those people that look, they were trying to steal the body
Mhm.
because the person that has passed on has albinism. So they were trying to get the body parts. Imagine. But funeral wise, we have the normal. It depends on each tribe, on how they carry on with the funeral. But we have normal funerals. But then what they did is that they knew that a person with albinism was buried in a certain place, and then they tried and because they wanted the body parts. So it's sad.
Oh, that's the thing. You can't. So even in death, they still want the body part because for their rituals. Where's the dignity in that? Where is the dignity? It's a lot to take in. Oh Lord. You know what I've heard these
They
yeah,
strip away the dignity.
a lot to take in. Right. Oh my gosh, these myths. And I just think that, you know, so even in the burial, let me ask a question I just come to my thought just now. Excuse me. The burial. So the graves, yeah. Do they have to put the names of the person in the grave as well? So if a person with albinism dies, yeah,
Yes.
they put a name on the graves, right? Without the picture. So how would they know if a person has albinism or not?
No, I think those ones were deliberate. Like
Okay.
it's not something that they they kind of like knew that because this person is, because it was not even long after, like it was not long after the person was buried. So they had an idea way before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I think that's how they got the body parts. Otherwise, uh, the graves, it's just their name and surname.
Okay.
It's just that those people had their mind set on that evil deed that time.
Yeah. And I really think I ask these questions because you never really think these things happen in this day and age, but it does happen.
I think
It does happen. It really happens where people can't rest in peace. Like especially in the Albans community, like you can't rest in
imagine.
peace. No dignity for the dead. Jesus, help us. Let's
Yo,
move on to the question of mental health now, because as a part of Young for Change advocacy, as I mentioned, we're not only dealing with the physical aspects of having albinism, but we're going to talk about not the mental health and emotional health of having albinism. So, in your opinion, is this topic brought up in where you're from?
um, I don't think we talk about it much as we should. But I think it's a topic that we should put out the most of the time now, because most of it's draining to be able to to always have to prove yourself that you can do this. It takes a lot for you to affirm who you are. And because now remember, with albinism is, even when you walk in the street, there's gonna be someone that's gonna have an opinion about you, about how you look, about how you are. So I think that mental health is something that we ought to speak about more, and to address what does it do to me as a person with albinism. How has my journey with mental health has been like, because for personally, one thing that I did struggle to accept was the eyesight thingy. I did not have a problem with my skin and people looking at me differently because of my skin. But one of the things that I struggled a lot with was accepting my eyesight. I remember I wanted to have a license, and my eyesight is quite bad, so I'm short-sighted, so I really don't see far. So now I struggled with that. I remember there was a term in my life where a person would ask me like, when are you getting your license? And I would literally want to cry right then. Because now remember that my eyesight is something that I cannot change. And like I can't change it. So now I had to accept it and be comfortable enough with it so that when a person comes to me and say, Bana, why aren't you driving? Why aren't you? Then I do not answer from a place of anger or from a place of hurt. I can answer from a place of education, of educating the person, because now I have accepted it. I have understood it. And then now there's also a case of self-confidence, because now mental health goes along with all those things. Self-confidence. I cannot be confident if my mental health is not intact. I will go to anxiety. I will have anxiety. I will have depression. I will find ways to survive that are sometimes not in my favor, because I cannot handle how people see me. I cannot handle sometimes my failures. I cannot handle the things that I cannot do. So mental health is very important. It's important for everyone, but for a person with albinism, it's important because daily you have to work on yourself. Daily you have to explain to a person, why are you not wearing your glasses? Because sometimes people come out strong, and then when you are not in a great space, that is what I've also realized about myself, that if I'm not in a great space, then I am sensitive and vulnerable to anything that is coming from outside, because then my inner person is not in the great space. Because apparently life happens to all of us, and then sometimes you feel demotivated, or you're not reaching your goals, or you do not see yourself where you're supposed to see yourself. So now if you're in a sensitive space and then you get someone out there that says something to you that touches in that sensitive skin, it's either you break down, it's either you say something you're not supposed to say. I have other friends that will say, Bana, you know what? Now we'll clap a person and then I'll do the education later. You understand? So those are the effects of us not understanding our mental or not really taking care of our mental wellness. Those are the consequences that come with us not taking care of the mental wellness. So I think that mental health is quite important, because sometimes you see that self-confidence, guys, rejection is not nice. So if I'm in a sensitive space and then they tell me in a certain place, but no, man, so we cannot take you here, then it's sometimes it feels like your world is like going all down, and then you take all the other things, and then it drives you to depression or anxiety. So I think that we ought to dive into mental wellness and find spaces where we talk about the things that trouble us as people with albinism, because I found out that we are most comfortable to joke around about things that trouble us as people, because sometimes people won't understand my struggle into what happens on the roads. How much longer do I wait for me to pass in the road, to wait for the car? Is it near? Is it far? Those type of things. Or you see, the things that we as people with low vision understand. Or when somebody greets you and you're like, I have no idea who you are, and those type of things. Or when a person in the car hoots for you and they greet you and you're like, Lord, I see nothing. Those type of things. So I think it's very important for us to find spaces where we can really be honest about our feelings, about our fears, about our failures, about so that we can be able to conquer them. Because for me, I had to, anything that you have not accepted it will conquer you. So you have to accept, but then accepting takes time, takes something from you to understand, man, this is what it is, and it really does not define me. So it's very important for us to be aware and to be present for our mental wellness.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that, because self-acceptance is very important, especially in the albinism community as well. And it is, when you come to self-acceptance, it's a healing as well. It helps you heal from the scars or from the trauma that you face or I face. So I'll be honest with you, like, I never really spoke about albinism as much. This is the first time in a long time that and obviously I didn't want to upset my condition. I just wanted to be like, quote unquote, I just wanted to feel normal. But my new normal is being different, is my new normal. And, I battled with self-issues myself. I battled with feeling ugly. I battled with feeling, not, and I dealt with the depression side of things. I dealt with the anxiety and so forth. But then I had to realize, who is Marvelyn? Who am I as a person?
Yes.
Not just about the albinism aspects of it. It's about knowing who I am as a person and understanding that, okay, I cannot change the fact that I was born this way. Albinism is a part of me, but it doesn't define me. I limit the condition by accepting who I am and growing as a person, being productive like anybody else. Just because I have limitation doesn't mean I'm limited. As I said before, I treat albinism as my asset. I don't treat it as a liability. I treat it as an asset for me to grow, for me to persevere, for me to achieve, for me to accomplish. And in the last few years, I have accomplished a lot. I have, when people want to say to you, "Oh, you never been married," I'm a wife of 3 years. Okay, I'm married. Right, that's one big achievement for my life right now. I am a wife, and my husband loves me beyond the albinism. He doesn't even see that condition. He's also in support with Yell for Change as well. And also, when it comes to employment now, in my workplace now, a lot of people are drawn to me, whether it's bad, good or bad. But a lot of people seem, compensate with people. People are coming to me. Not so much me going to them as such, but people are coming to me in the workplace now. And I never felt this way the other day. I'm truly, I see it as a blessing. And what was my ridicule has become my biggest blessing, sis. And that's how I treat albinism now. I treat it as an asset because of the ridicule and the rejection in my past or whatever. I take it as a blessing. I take it as it's rewarding, because now that I'm in my own skin, I don't care about the stares anymore. People can stare at me. Okay, I don't really care no more. I am so thick-skinned to it, and I have come to the acceptance of who I am. And if you don't like me, kudos, I don't really care for you. So, if you just see the color of my skin as a hindrance for you to not speak to me, then that's on you. But I would not let the color of my skin, or I'm not going to let albinism dictate to me of who I am. Welcome to our guest that's joining the room. So, because of time, as time is coming up for us, the floor is now open to anyone who wants to say something to me or Mandisa. So the floor is now open. Anyone who wants to say something? Anyone?
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi, Queen Mandisa. Hi, Mavelin.
Hey, Lerato. Ma'am, Loretto is one of the finalists. Hey, Loretto.
Hey, welcome.
I want to see you. I want to see you. Where are you? Hey, Queen.
Hey, Queen.
Hey, Queen. Come on. Show us. Where are you?
I'm here. Okay, let me switch on. Hi.
Good evening from the UK. Welcome to Albinism Talk with Marilyn. How are you, sister?
I am so great. Thank you so much. I couldn't miss out on this, topic, even though I entered late, but at least I was 20 minutes late, I think. Yeah, well, all I can say is, you guys are, well, this is very educational, and I believe it's something that we should, deal with more often. I've learned a lot, and yes, Queen Mandisa, you are the best. You're exceptional. Thank you so much for the education. Yes.
Yes. So are you one of the contestants of Miss Albinism?
Yes, I am. I am. And it has been, thank you so much.
All you got to do is just tag me in the video. I want to see you. Let's walk doing the catwalks and all of that, yeah?
Sorry?
Just
I didn't get that.
Just upload a video. I want to see y'all walking down the aisle with the catwalks and your high heels and,
All right. I love that anyway.
Wow. I mean, I'm so elated for this type of competition to happen. It's about time that people with albinism need to shine and to really bring out their talents out. And it's a good move. It's a good movement, Mr. and Mr. Albinism contestant. I just hope it goes well for you both. It's a shame that I cannot be there at present because I'm not in the same country. I'm in the UK. But, it's okay. That's what YouTube is for.
Yes, we'll definitely update you. Don't worry. Definitely update you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining Albinism Talk. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Is anyone else in the audience that would like to say something to me or Mandisa?
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning. Good night from the UK. Welcome to Albinism Talk. Can you introduce yourself, please?
I'm Veronica. I'm one of the
Hi. Oh my God. Hey, Vero. Hey, Vero.
Hi, Veronica. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining Albinism Talk with me. I would love to hear your intake about this discussion that me and Mandisa is having. So please share your views, or if you would like to ask questions, quote unquote.
I also joined very late. I didn't hear much, but the part that I heard, okay, I can say I've learned. Okay, I've learned a lot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
That's all
much.
I can say.
I don't know if you can hear me because of the internet connection. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you repeat that again, please?
I said, okay, I didn't hear much because I joined very late. I think few minutes before you finished.
Oh, wow. Well, it's okay. You didn't miss much. We were just talking about mental health and myths and getting to know Mandisa a bit more. So, it doesn't matter what time you join in. At least you caught a bit that you can learn from us as well. And, thank you so much for joining in. You're just as valued as a listener. So all our guests and in the room are just as important. So it doesn't matter if you join in early or late. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you for joining Albinism Talk with me and guest Mandisa.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh gosh, I want to see. Is there anyone else in the room? I see. Oh, that's about it. It's only like, oh wow. That's okay. Thank you so much. So, Mandisa, back to you, my darling. If there's anyone else who joins, then we can open the floor again. So, right. So, back to you now with the Mr. and Miss Albinism. What? Well, let me just rephrase the question. Who is the founder of that?
It's Mr. Godfrey Mpachwe. He's the founder of the Mr. and Miss Albinism. I think he's been invited to like Mr. and Miss Albinism in Zambia. He was the guest judge there, and then I guess when he came back, he was like, "But then no, we don't have such competitions here in South Africa." So that's how he got to start their competition. He already had a foundation where he taught about disabilities and stuff. But then when he was invited as a guest judge for Mr. and Miss Albinism in Zambia, then he came back. He was like, I cannot be a judge there whilst we don't have it here. So yeah, that's how he saw the need for the education. He saw the need for the awareness, to spread. So that's how he started the competition.
Absolutely. That's amazing because I'm glad that is he a person with albinism?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not.
Okay. Well, I'm very glad that there's somebody who's taking the initiative to bring this type of events and to wherever he is. This is a message from the UK. Thank you so much for this initiative and this movement, and I'm sure this movement with Mr. and Miss Albinism will encourage other PWEs to come out and take part in this movement. And it's very empowering, it's very empowering to know that, people are bringing awareness towards the PWA community. And I wish that there's more people in the world that will just join in with this movement. Obviously, in the UK, albinism is very rare. It's a very rare condition. It is very rare, but I do see a few PWAs here, but it's very rare that this condition is exposed. Obviously, not in Africa. I got to find out there's one in 2000 that has this condition. Is very high in Africa. Is really high in Africa, but like in the United States or in the UK or Europe, this condition is very rare. In the UK, it's 1 in 17,000 estimates. So I've got to understand with albinism. But with albinism, it comes with its ups and downs, highs and lows. As we both went through the childhood, teenage years, now the adult stage of having this condition. And one of the things that I would love to really educate about albinism for me would be, we never choose to be this way. And that's something that it's not our fault that we were born this way.
Nope.
But it's something that you can either embrace it or you choose to live a life of bitterness. And let's just talk a little, I've got all the time to talk about albinism right now. I don't even feel like ending this interview right now. I really don't. To be honest, because I've had PWAs come on and we talk, but we've got a bit of time still. But for me, I see as meeting somebody like you. I've done a talk with the CEO of Proud Albinism, Annalene Matiba. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yes, I do have.
With her. And my God, I didn't want to end the interview with her. She's so amazing. I've done a talk with her, and I've done a talk with Pinky, because Pinky was one of the first person to come and albinism talk with me. She opened the floor for me. We yelled for change, and I honestly, when I meet other PWAs, you just don't want to. You don't want these
Don't
type
want to
of talks
stop.
to end, because I know it's because of time and because of time difference and time zone, quote unquote. I mean, when you have these talks, you're like, oh my God, like it's
It's
amazing to meet other
beautiful.
people.
It's a beautiful
It just makes me
experience.
feel like, yes, I'm not alone. I'm not
Yes,
alone.
yes.
And
Somebody understands.
I always thought that I was the only one in this world. And I told my mom, I said, Mommy, why do I look like this? Okay, what did you do to my skin? What did you do? Like, I was, but then obviously, she was like, you're not the only one that's born like this. Because, but I'm glad that I'm not alone. That's the
Yes.
beauty of having albinism. Like, when you know
Yes.
there's other people just like you, you're like,
And
yes.
then we understand the same things. We get
Yes,
each other.
we understand the same thing, and we can empathize. So when
Yes.
it comes to mental health as well, we can empathize and put ourselves in another person's shoes that
Yes.
experience the same
The same
challenges that I
thing.
have.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess it helps that we are here so that we share our experiences, so that the children don't have to go through what we went through.
Right.
Because I think
Yeah.
mostly this, like, I didn't know any platform now where people could speak about these things. And it's not something that was like talked about. But now I have albinism, visual impairment, skin problems, no, all those things. But then now there's us that are going to be like, no, it's just visual impairment. So parents, don't worry, because the other people that we really ought to speak to and to encourage. And for me, when I get to meet a parent that would have like this face full of hope, because then they see me. They're like, no, because they see me, they're not like, oh, there's hope for my child. Because they see me, they're like, no, my child's going to be fine. Then they can reference. I think that's part of why I entered the Miss Albinism, so that a parent can ensure their child, look at the girl next door. That could be you. You see?
Mhm.
So I think it's in these spaces that we get to make a difference, in these spaces where people can find people that they can talk to that actually understand uh, the the ups and downs of albinism.
Yes, because I think not only a person with albinism do face the stigma, also single mothers or family members do face the stigma. And I did do a talk with a parent last week. Last week, I've done a talk with a lady in America. She has a beautiful daughter, and the daughter has albinism. And she was sharing her experience, from her point of view. And I want to invite more parents to come on these talks with me, because in a sense that, they can learn from somebody from the adult side of things. And obviously we've been, us, me, you, we've been through the
Yes, the other side.
teenage years, the schooling, the whole 9 yards, and it's their child might be going through that situation where they're gonna go out and they've been bullied and so forth. And it's about educating the parents what to do if they find themselves in a situation
Yes.
where the child comes home and they don't want to go to school because of bullying.
Anymore.
So it's about educating the parents as well, so they can get the support, and obviously getting doctors and people who are experts that know about the condition in a biological sense. And one of the things I also learned, because I never learned this before, and I got to find out that everybody is a carrier of the albinism gene.
Yes, I usually make a joke that you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. I really like to make this joke, but guys, you don't know whether you're
No,
gonna meet a person that's also got the gene, then
yeah,
boom, another Mandisa is born. You don't know.
yeah, because
So
I see it as this. I see it as this. When a woman is pregnant, okay, when a woman is pregnant, you don't know what the child's gonna look like. The child is growing
Yes.
inside of you.
Mm.
You know, your child. is the child is great. 1 second, sis. I think someone wants to join in the talk. Hold on 1 second.
No problem.
Hold on 1 second. I think someone wants to join in. 1 moment. No, it's not even that. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry about that. No, it was. I thought it was someone to join in, but yeah, something. So these are things that we're going to talk about is carriers of the traits, because what the lady, her name is Shida, and she and her daughter called Caden have albinism, and they done their testing, and apparently her and her husband, they are carriers of it, the traits of it, and even in her family as well. So, but they said that even if she was to fall pregnant and she's likely to have a child with albinism and whatnot, but she said it don't really make a difference. I'm gonna still love my child whether the child come with albinism or not. So when I take that, I said, wow, that's, to me, that's a good parent right there. Because if you can love your child beyond that, that's that.
Regardless.
It doesn't matter if you do tests on me or if you do a DNA test on me to say if I have the traits of albinism and whatnot. I'm gonna love my child. What if the child come out red, pink, purple, blue, and green?
You see?
So, yeah, but it's something that I wish we could have parents like this that can actually listen to other parents, like my dearest friend.
Yes.
And the fact that when I hear these things, it makes me want to reach out to parents more now, to say invite them to these talks and to really give them some educational lessons about the condition, so that, because I also saw another report again, and I don't know if you saw it on Y4C's Instagram. I posted about a 4-month-old boy. The mother abandoned him, and the baby's father's grandmother was take care of him, but because the grandmother is not well because due to illness as well, I post that on Y4Change, and these are things that makes me want to reach out to parents to really educate and say, there's nothing wrong with your child. Like, why are you abandoning?
It's okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, that child could be your greatest blessing. And then the child, I've heard the stories of parents abandoning their children because of albinism. And it's so heartbreaking. And to hear that my friend and sister said that to me the other day, I literally was like, listen, if I come to the States right now, I'm coming to see my niece. I told her, I said it to her face, I said, hey, if there's ever a time, I'm waiting for this COVID thing to like really go away now so I can travel and come to, I even said to Pinky as well, I said, I am coming to South Africa. You better find a room for me to come, because I'm definitely gonna come stay at your house and we can do these talks and really come to the place, hear from an international speaker from, hey, I'm saying, and I educate parents and say, look, obviously for me, I come from Black parents, my mom and dad are light-skinned, but my dad is almost like me. His complexion is almost like a white man. The only time he's dark is only he gets a tan, but without a tan, he looks like a yellow man, okay? Red-skinned, right? And I want to really deposit this, and obviously, like these are kind of talks I'm doing as well to educate my family as well. So not just friends, but educating my family that anybody can actually give birth to a person with albinism. It happened to me. I have brothers and sisters that come out normal. I'm the only one with albinism, but should I allow this statement now to dictate to me? Absolutely not. I'm 32 years old, man, and I've come to a point I have to love myself, not just through albinism, but love myself so that others can love me Because if you are gonna hang your head low, oh, it's all about me, like I'm albinism, I don't want the sympathy. You know,
Yes.
I don't want people to feel sorry for me, and in a sense of because I have this condition. Love me beyond albinism, because albinism is something that I cannot change. But if you love me beyond that, that's more acceptable. And I have to learn to love myself as well as having the condition, loving myself and telling myself that look, I'm beautiful. You know, I'm special. I'm God's masterpiece. So that's one of the things I embrace, that I'm God. I'm made in God. I actually have my T-shirt made to stand out. That's I'm thinking to do a merch on that for Yell for Change for PWAs very soon. God's willing, that's gonna hopefully come out very soon. But these are things is for PWA to understand. The message is made to stand out. You're made different, and you are unique. It doesn't matter if people don't see you in the same light as them, and quote unquote. But it's all about understanding that you are beautiful. You are made to stand out. You are made to shine. You are made to stand out. You are unique. Don't let the fact that your skin defines you as a person. And that's what it's all about. And albinism is here to stay. It's a lifetime thing.
Going anywhere.
It's not gonna go nowhere. You're
Not
gonna have to
going.
learn to accept it. It is what it is. Like albinism
Yeah.
is here to stay. Now we're gonna come up with the last 5 minutes of our time,
No
and
problem.
because I know that because of time as well in your country is about 9:30 now. So I know
Yes.
maybe you have work in the morning, so I don't really want to take up too much of your time. But I want to say thank you again for taking your time out with me. And I was in talk with Marvelyn, and I am the founder of Yell for Change. So finally, you got to meet the founder behind Yell for Change, and
Yes,
obviously,
finally.
well, let me just share a little bit of history with Yell for Change a little bit with you. So Yell for Change is it's all about bringing awareness to albinism, and obviously bring the yellow pictures was to bring shining the torch to the color yellow
Oh,
is the vibrant of light of albinism. It represents our uniqueness and our light and our bright skin, our uniqueness, so that's what the yellow pictures, that's why when I posted, and obviously yell for shout is to
because I've always been curious about the yellow.
yeah, so the yellow, so yell for shout, and then the yellow for albums, and obviously the 4 E's is to educate, empower, enlighten, encourage albums, and obviously change is to take action. So obviously taking action and speaking out. So speaking is action as well. So not just the physical, non-verbal, but obviously speaking and exposing the inhumane and the stigma towards albinism. So that's what Yell for Change is about. So I'm not only just going to be doing the yellow pictures, I want to meet other people with albinism
That's
and share
beautiful.
their story and experience. So that's also a part of Yell for Change's advocacy. So this project started last year in September. So a year ago, Yell for Change was born. And so we just celebrated 1 year anniversary. It only started with family and friends with yellow pictures, as I said. And I'm very humbled that it has come this far. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm able to meet people. And it's not gonna the work doesn't stop. So the yellow
Yeah,
pictures continues. It doesn't matter if it's Albans in Awareness Day or Albans in
or
Awareness
not.
Month. It doesn't matter the yellow. Everybody's welcome to take part in the
Yellow.
pictures. If they want to take. It's the content of it, and it will draw people to really take part in it too. So yeah, so in closing of this interview, what would be your message to the world, Mandisa, about albinism?
One, I believe that we are the light of the world. We are meant to light up the world. Let's light up the world. And my prayer is that I pray that we live in a world that accepts diversity. That is my everyday prayer, that we live in a world that accepts diversity so that we can live happily ever after, basically. Like, that's my prayer. Accepting diversity and living happily ever after. but more or less, it's accepting diversity. Let's be a world that accepts diversity. Let's be a world that embraces diversity. Because if it's not black and white, there can be gray. So I pray that we become a world that accepts and embraces diversity. And to my PWAs, know that you are the light of the world. Regardless, you are the light of the world. You are made to shine. You are meant to shine. So that is it from me. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I really, I feel honored, and I appreciate you and your work. And, we do see your work. We do see you. So thank you so much for taking the initiative and also motivating us in a way, along the way. Sometimes when you feel like when a purpose-wise, and then you're tired, but you're like, no, MEV is continuing. And then you take inspiration from MEV. So I want to say thank you so much for that as well. You inspire us as well beside.
Thank you. I'm so humbled by that. Thank you. Thank you so much again, Mandisa, for taking your time out with Albinism Awareness. Albinism Awareness, Albinism Talk. Oh my God. Forgive me. I beg your pardon. Albinism Talk with Marilyn. So guys, please remember to follow Yell for Change on all social media platforms. This episode will be posted on YouTube, Yell for Change YouTube channel. So please subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Yell for Change is here. We're spreading the message for PWA. We're bringing awareness to albinism. So just remember, Yell for albinism. Together we stand, together we can. Much love. God bless you and have a peaceful good night.